Hello everybody and welcome to another top 5 board gaming video, and happy August! You know what that means? That means that it's the top 5 upcoming and or recently released games that I really want to play but will probably never be able to. And that said, it's going to start to get really interesting as we get into Gen Con and Essenspiel and all of these types of things as these conventions come and go. And so I'm super excited to get into it. There's a bunch of great games out there. I think I found some that I'm super excited to talk about. Of course, first off, let me tell you, please let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. What are you looking forward to? Let me know. But that said, we're going to jump in with my number 5. At number 5, I've got Space Dragons, which honestly seems really similar to the Cosmic Frogs thing that I was talking about before, but in this case, we actually know what's going on. This is a trick-taking game where the idea is that you're literally going around trying to kill dragons in space. I don't know what more I can say about it other than that. Very simple. Like I said, it's trick-taking. Whoever gets the highest number gets to take it, and then whoever has the most points at the end wins. There are some little things where, depending on what card you play, they have effects that are that sometimes are continuous and things of that nature, but who cares? You're fighting dragons in space. Go look at it. Space Dragons, number 5. At number 4, I've got Barbarians. Get it? Because yeah, you get it. So the idea of this is that it really reminds me of the Red Dragon Inn, where the whole point is that you just have this really goofy, you know, very common D&D style tavern scenario, but the whole point is that you're essentially starting a bar brawl, and you are using anything and everything as a weapon or a shield. You can hold up a person and use them to shield yourself from a flying table and stuff like that, and it just seems amazing. And I really want to play it. It just seems so goofy. But at the same time, goofy games are not always games that are really good. So that's why it's a little bit lower on the list. But still, it's at least funny in terms of the name. So they did good on that. Barbarians is my number 4. At number 3, I've got Corrupt Bargain, the 1824 presidential election, where you will use your political wile and sneakiness and call in every favor that is owed to you in the House of Representatives in order to become President of the United States of America. So historically, during this election, no president was actually elected by popular vote through the Electoral College. There weren't enough, nobody got enough votes to be declared the winner, so it had to go to the House of Representatives, who declared John Quincy Adams to be president of the US. I'm assuming that's why they chose this, because it makes it relatively unique. Everybody is playing as one of the candidates, and the idea is you go out on the campaign trail. You try to win the hearts and mind of the people so that you can get the popular vote and hopefully win enough electoral votes to become president outright, or you can, and at the same time, you have to use favors in Congress and all that kind of thing to make sure that the House of Representatives likes you, just in case they have to vote and say who the president is going to be. Obviously, whoever becomes president wins. Interesting game in terms of the meatiness and the strategy, and of course the historical context, which I always personally appreciate. Seems like a very fascinating game. I'm curious to try it out, but at the same time, I don't really know why it's Corrupt Bargain, because I don't know if anything really nefarious was going on. Maybe there was. If you do know, let me know. But that said, Corrupt Bargain, the presidential election of 1824, or the 1824 presidential election, is my number 3. At number 2, I've got The Adventures of Robin Hood. So you're playing as Robin Hood and his merry men in Sherwood Forest, robbing from the rich and giving to the needy. Pretty standard stuff. Now, importantly, this game was nominated and nearly won Spiel des Jahres. So on that alone, it's really fascinating and I really want to play it. I would love to see what it is, what it's all about. But the greatest thing about this is that it introduces a very unique new movement mechanic that has not really been used before, that allows you to jump around the forest in a very unique and really cool way. So I'm excited just to try it out for that, and that's probably what got it into the running for Spiel des Jahres. But regardless, it's high on the list because it's a relatively small game. Hopefully it'll be pretty easy to get. They should be printing a lot of them because it was in the running, it was a nominee. So hopefully I'll get a chance at some point. Adventures of Robin Hood, my number 2. At number 1, I have a game that I will probably never ever play and is also technically an expansion, the Fate of Erebor. This is a special promotional expansion that came with specific Battle of the Five Armies editions of War of the Ring and Battle of the Five Armies, the board game, where the good guys lost. I want to play it. And so I love this type of thing. I love Tolkien mythology and Lord of the Rings and all this stuff is already an alternate fantasy reality, but I love seeing alternate realities within realities. And so, as I'm sure many of you know, Marvel's What If series is coming as a TV show onto Disney Plus, and so we're going to be able to see that, which is a really awesome thing, I must say, with Spider-Man wearing a paper bag as a mask and stuff like that. But it's just a fascinating thing to see, like these what if scenarios. You know, what if this had happened instead of this? And that's why a lot of war games tend to do this type of thing as well, where the idea is, yes, you're playing a specific battle and we know who won the Battle of the Bulge, for example, but that doesn't mean that you can't turn the tide. It doesn't mean that the other side can't win. And in this particular case, the idea is that the bad guys win the Battle of the Five Armies, and now we're taking off from the Middle Earthian history from that point forward, and that is the Fate of Erebor. And I would love to play it, but I am fairly positive that I never, ever, 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 ever will. And so that's why it's number 1 on the list for August. Well, everybody, that's it for me. I hope that you enjoyed this video on my top 5 games that I'm looking forward to and hopefully someday, but probably never will play for August. Of course, it is convention season. We're seeing a ton of new games start to come out, a ton of new game announcements, all of this sort of thing. We're seeing Gen Con, Essenspiel, all of this kind of stuff. Spiel des Jahres recently announced all of these great things, and I'm super excited to see all of these great games. And I know that I'm not going to get a chance to play the vast majority of them, but hopefully I was able to give you guys some cool games that you had not heard of. And as always, let me know what your thoughts are and what games you're personally looking forward to, so that you can give me some ideas, because maybe there's something that you've got out there that I want to play too. I mean, there's literally hundreds and thousands of games coming out. So that said, and as always, if you haven't done so already, please take a look at my social media pages where you can interact with myself and my channel in a whole bunch of really fun ways. And of course, we are still in a pandemic, so please, wherever you live across the world, be safe, be well, be healthy, be careful. If you have to go out, wear a mask. If you haven't done so already and you're able to, please get vaccinated. It's important. And I know I personally appreciate it, both as somebody who is particularly high risk for COVID complications, as well as somebody who is a scientist. So I hope that everything goes well, but with the Delta variant and all of this kind of thing, we are in a bad situation, people. It's not getting better very fast, and hopefully it will, but we'll see. That said, thank you so much as always for watching. Hope that you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time.